How's it going? My name's Nico. I go by COINTrick and cointricktwitch online. And if you're seeing this video, that means that you are trying to figure out how to make candy. And even more specifically, you may be trying to figure out how to turn your candy into alcohol. So, first, let me explain what we've done so far. This is a strawberry Cheong, which is I believe a Korean ferment that we made using brown sugar, macerated brown sugar and strawberries basically, and this has been aging for about 2 months. That's good. Not a whole lot of like gas or activity or anything in there. It smells a little bit acetal, so that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, but the very first thing that we need to do is strain this so that we just have the syrup in here. And basically, what that should do is it should leave us with a jam and a syrup. And the syrup is going to be fine to use in cocktails and things like that, shrubs, non-alcoholic drinks even. And then the jam we're going to spread here on a thin layer on this silicone baking sheet. We're going to put that in the oven at 200 degrees for a few hours until it crystallizes, dehydrates, and turns into candy. And then once we do have a candy, later on, not today because this is going to take some time, we're going to take the candy and we're going to take the syrup and we're going to take some super juice probably and see if we can make a secondary ferment out of this and make something similar to what would be like a strawberry based brown sugar soju. So stick with me. All right, so the first thing that we're going to have to do is take all of this stuff, put it in this thing, which is called a super bag. And then basically it's kind of like cheesecloth that you can pull and twist. It's a little bit malleable, but that way you can force a little bit more of the juice out of this when you're working with it. And we're gonna do that into a separate container here. And this is a bottle from Crew Supply. So the bottom opens, the top opens. We're gonna try and go through the bottom. I feel like funnel, and then maybe the super bag like so. Wish me luck. There we go, now we're making some progress. You can kind of see some of that syrup now collecting down there. Take my word for it, there's a lot of liquid still getting trapped up here in the filter. It can't actually move fast enough to go all the way through in one go. Yeah, you can see when I sort of just move it back and forth a little bit, when I agitate it, it does move faster. Now we have the bottom undone. And we got a lot more liquid coming out now. Whoop! I don't want to get to all those like chunky strawberry parts just yet. I need some kind of like cradle device from Crew Supply. I don't think they have one of these yet, but like some kind of cradle that would keep this thing upright as I'm trying to like squeeze this juice out would be super helpful. I do like the color that I'm getting through from the syrup. It kind of almost looks like cola. It's interesting. It smells like almost medicinal, which is weird. I don't know why it would smell that way. It does also smell a little bit like cola, but that might be psychosomatic. That might be just my brain going, it looks like cola. It sounds like cola. It must taste like cola. We're getting to these diminishing returns where I think this is all the liquid we're gonna get without using some kind of hydraulic press to really squeeze this thing. Look at all of that sediment that we managed to keep out of the final solution. So here's the tricky part, right? I want to take that sediment, spread it here on this thin sheet of silicone baking sheet, and see if I can bake it and dehydrate it down into a candy. So that's gonna take some time. As far as how I'm gonna get it out of this bag, your guess is as good as mine. Let's try the good old turn it inside out. It does kind of smell like jam, I will say. So that's a good sign, I feel like. Because that's the consistency that I wanted. This actually smells like bocadillo. It looks like and smells just like that to me. I will also go out here and say, I don't like bocadillo. But I recognize the scent, I know it's there. Just not pleasant to me specifically. Now, let's do the same thing. Let's create this little filter funnel apparatus. Yep, there we go. That way we don't send syrup all over the bar. I think we've gotten enough of the main liquid that I can now just go from the bottom, basically. All right, I think that's everything I'm gonna try and get out of there. I'll show you guys camera 2 so that you can get an idea of how much more quickly this is flowing. Always keep your hands clean. I almost wish I had a bigger funnel because I feel like I'm gonna make a huge mess trying to pull all of those solids up into the super bag and then squeezing them out without a harness. Actually, I may have an idea. It may be a terrible idea. We shall see. All right, so what I've done, and I don't recommend doing this at home. Do not do as I do, but what I've done is I've taken one of my glass olive jars, put 3 water bottles in here, and if all goes according to plan, I have another bottle like this that is empty and clean and dry, so I'll show you how this should work. It should hold the bottle steady while I am doing everything over top of it. Is it gonna work? Hopefully, this feels pretty stable to me. I'm mostly worried that like I'm gonna tip this over and I'm gonna like all of the product is just gonna spill out. So we'll see how it goes. All right. I don't have an apparatus to hold this right side up, so I took 3 water bottles.
Perfect. Looks like guts.
I use my big brain for good things. This already feels a lot more stable, but we'll see if this holds up. I have to now try to wring this out as best that I can, and then we'll see what consistency of jam I have when I'm done. I do want it to be liquidy enough that I can kind of spread it 1/4 inch thick here on the silicone mat. So let's see how this goes. All right, so far so good. I did think that the funnel was going to be redundant, but it does seem to actually be catching all of, knock on wood, but all of the liquid that I'm squeezing out of this thing. I don't want to wrap my hand all the way around this because like my hands are clean and sanitized, but I do worry a little bit about contamination. But also, I don't want my hands to get super sticky, and if the water, when I twist this too tightly too quickly, some of the syrup spurts upwards, fighting gravity. So if that happens, I'm gonna make a very icky, sticky, gross mess of my bar. This is a game of patience right now. I lied, now I'm fully gripping this because I can't generate the pressure that I need to actually extract any liquid from here. So our final goal, when we're done with all of this, is going to be to make some sort of soju-like substance, hopefully. The main difference, though, is that when you make soju, you use predominantly rice, and I haven't used rice in making this at all. I think this may be all of the liquid that I can reasonably extract from this. The rest of this is going to be jam, which does make my life easier. What we have now is a syrup that admittedly would or should have a little bit of alcohol in it, a negligible amount probably. It's based on brown sugar, so seasonally it should be very good. It's also a strawberry syrup, which is weird. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to use it during the holidays. I do plan on entertaining my family with this when they are down here, and then I'm going to reincorporate some of the syrup back into our final ferment and make something kind of like a sizer, or like a cider seltzer beer thing. Stick around. Now I need to move this to the side. Now I need to extract or excavate, I guess, the solids from here and see. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. All right, word. Well, now I need to see if I can spread this into some sort of like 1/8 inch thick paste that will hopefully dehydrate and cook a little bit and turn into sort of like somewhere between dehydrated strawberries and a strawberry candy in the oven. And we're doing that at 200 degrees. It should take anywhere from 3 to 6 hours. Your guess is as good as mine, so let's see how this goes. Actually, my best bet may be to get some kind of mold that I can press this into. So let me see if I can find one of those really quick. The next engineering solution that we have here, this is a device that my family has always used for making perfectly circular and evenly thick burgers on the grill. I am going to basically use this to collect everything up into one circle and see if I can press this down to about 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch thick. I'm probably gonna have to end up scooping some of this up together, though. I don't think I can get it all in here, or I'm gonna have to make 2 separate circles. First try, let's see how it goes. Okay, some success. I can pull that up, and then I think I'm gonna have to go in here with the knife. That, so ironically, that does kind of look like a burger patty, or like a very awful cookie, but we're pretty far from getting 1/8 inch. I don't advocate for cutting on top of your silicone board, but I'm just gonna eyeball about halfway through this and kind of gently work back and forth to see if I can work about half of this apart. You know what? I feel like I'm gonna have to do it again, otherwise I'm gonna keep repeating this process, so I'm gonna cut these actually further into 4ths, because the thinner that I can get these pucks, I think the better the results are gonna be for this sort of dehydrated candy that we're making. There we go. And then here, gently working back and forth, unless I feel some resistance or something sort of firm, like a stem, which I shouldn't have here because I removed the stems before I started this whole project. Now let's try this again. Oh, this is probably gonna be harder because these are thick, dry chunks of strawberry. There we go. I think this is a much better result. Let's insert the knife right here. Let's try and create a little pocket of air. There we go. I think that will work. I think that will be thin enough to actually dehydrate correctly. Let's continue on. I gotta say, I knew that physically it should work. I just didn't think it actually would. But this one's actually a little bit thinner. And then just keep working around. Gotta put your back into it. Don't go breaking apart. There we go. All right. Will these cook evenly? Your guess is as good as mine. But will they taste good? I also don't know the answer to that question. But now these are ready to go into the oven for a few hours. We're actually going to be live, I think, when we pull these out. So, to the oven. Better results. They're still a little bit soft, which tells me that there's still a little bit of water content in them. But I can't really continue to try to dehydrate these any more than I already have. That looks very underwhelming, I'm sure. That's what those patties look like. This is the closest piece to something that is like candy, but it almost smells more like bread, to be honest, which is interesting. The like seeds that you normally see on the skin of the strawberries have all like kind of come up to the surface, which is interesting. It's not something I was expecting or really thought of at all. I think that's as good as it's gonna get tonight. I'm going to inevitably take these off and put them maybe in the freezer to make sure that there isn't any microbial, anything that happens to them. And then I'll try and dehydrate them a little bit more the next time that I'm back in here. But eventually, though, these are going to get broken up, put back into this, and then the reason that I'm studying super juice is because I want to create a super solution for this brown sugar strawberry concoction that I have, to lengthen it a little bit and kind of create, if I could create a super solution out of this, it would fill this bottle. And if I can do that, I'm going to modify one of these tops. First, I have to drill a very small hole and then kind of like widen that hole over time so that I can fit a burp valve on top of it, so that I can, inside of this bottle, ferment a brown sugar strawberry wine. A soju inspired strawberry wine, we'll say. And that's going to be one of the main features that I use for dinner this holiday. I feel bad for anyone who is going to be here, and I feel worse for anyone who can't taste the stuff that I get to make.